So it's a time! Portable time with some Sega! Fake power. Fire core power. Oh boy, it's not going to be a good thing. Or what do you think? Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, let's do a little bit of a more Sega stuff. In this video, we're going to be doing a chit-chat about something really old called the RetroBit from RetroGen. So this is a 6-button layout device that some interesting features for back in the day. You hear me correctly, back in the day, because this is already quite a lot of, let's say, older tech when it comes to that, because they have released so many of those devices nowadays. So this is from the company RetroBit, are familiar with the controllers. So compatible with Fire core technology. For the people watching my channel, yeah, if you don't watch these videos, subscribe here a little bit because you missed out a lot of wicked stuff. So the Genesis and Megadrive cartridges comes with AV out, the option to actually plug this thing into a television and use it like a Sega Genesis console. So we do have AV out, then we're having the cartridge compatibility, a lithium battery, or at least this is not built in, I removed it because it was broken, and the USB enabled. So in other words, we can actually use this thing with an external USB source. So this is an old product and I'm not going to be having high expectation from this. So a 2.8-inch color LCD display, no IPS craziness that we see nowadays. However, what I love about this is the collectability. If you love these Sega products, so this is one of the things you can maybe consider for just collecting or like purposes. It's like something that's going to be the next level or your replacement for the Sega Nomad. But it's kind of interesting to see that they released all kinds of different devices. We can just turn it on and off over here, some extra features. An old school USB mini, yep, a mini man. This is like really old school. And the cartridge slot over here. But we're going to be checking out what can we actually do, what can we actually play in, how will the display look. We're having two jack outs, I'm guessing one for the headphone, another one for the TV out. But let's see what's inside the package, because we're going to be needing a TV out cable. So one thing, if you're buying a product like this and there is no TV out cable, yeah, buying one from AliExpress will not always do the trick, because there are sometimes some minor differences. For example, this is the mono version, we also have like stereo version, and even if you have like both of them, it's still possible that this doesn't work at all. And why is there a micro USB cable in this box? Yeah, I think the previous owner did mess up. The layout of the device is kind of cool with this cool looking D-pad, but the D-pad itself, I can already tell you, it feels, the resistance itself, it's not that great. It's not the floating configuration that we have with the 6-button controllers originally released by RetroBit later on, and of course the Sega Genesis. We do have the A-B-C and the XYZ button, and that is great, so you can actually play all kinds of different games. But the unfortunate part, there is no battery in the inside, so we're going to be needing a 5-volt or just a normal USB charger. This is a 30 watt, completely overkill, but yeah, that was the one I was laying around. I'm going to be using the normal USB cable and somewhere a USB mini cable, if I'm having in my storage over here. Let's look, do I have a mini USB? I think I have somewhere. And we're going to be plugging in and just have some old school fun. And see if this thing even comes with built-in games. But let's take a close look at the device itself before we're going to be testing any cartridges. So the Fire core is something that we have seen before. And what I find kind of laughable is just the games that comes with this device. You can see they are using all kinds of very strange homebrew games. And those homebrew games are only made most of the time here on these devices. I have been, let's say, reviewing all kinds of 8-bit, 16-bit stuff that you can buy in your local stores, but I've never seen something like this. So, but Jewel Magic, that's one of those, let's say, particular games that are quite interesting in the way how they made it. Oh man, this is really cringe. This is really bad. So, I'm guessing this is the Columns version of some kind. Oh man. But pressing the menu button will bring you instantly back to the main menu. There is no quick load, quick save or whatsoever. And the games on these devices are really bad. They get wall breaking. Okay, I almost wanted to say something differently. There are absolutely many of those wicked games that we've seen before. Okay, so this is actually just a tank ripoff. Oh man, I must say that I'm quite surprised how good the D-pad actually works with this. But you know, there are many of those very strange games. And I'm not going to be expecting any fun games on here. Just the same character in different clothes. Okay, so we do have 3 courses, but they were like the first attempts of getting in 3-dimensional games. Oh, this is really bad. You know, we have seen ourselves like some really weird 8-bit, 16-bit stuff, but this is absolutely like getting into the next level of the absolutely horrible games. Okay, we need to make a U-turn. This is just a freaking like racing games on a snowboard. Wow. If you think it can get, let's say, like worse than this, let's see. Okay, we're having here breaking the fire line. We're not going to be testing out every single game, but okay, the soundtrack sounds kind of good. Okay, so they ripped off Space Invaders. Oh crap! Oh, the controls are really bad with this. Way too sensitive. Okay, so this is actually like a Space Invader clone. Oh man, don't you love they ripped the some stuff off? But you know, let's move into something else. Let's take a close look at some cartridges. But this is going to be interesting. So let's turn this thing on and off. And let's plug in a multi-game card. So this is the HEC 235-in-1. So let's check it out if it's going to be even booting up. So if we have something going on. Okay, that's interesting. It does actually boot up, so that is a good start. Let's lower the studio lights because the display itself, I must say that in whether this isn't really all handheld, I'm quite surprised of the overall quality. Okay, so let's boot up into the bare knuckles number 3. And the reason why, because we're going to be having the option for the 6-button controller. Does it even boot up? Okay, so this is some weird hacked version because it's the HEC 235-in-1. I made a separate video about that. That's such a wicked cartridge where we can just have like instant, let's say, weird games going on. But whoa, the screen is completely messed up. Is it maybe to do with this particular switch? No. Let's see, let's get into the game. Or is it just me? No, this is completely messed up. Alright, so that's one thing. Yeah, this is really horrible. Okay, but let's get into the gameplay. Is it me or is this thing like on turbo mode? Man, this thing is completely messed up. Let's go to the main menu. Yeah, you can already see that something is going on. So let's switch to the menu. Let's see if this is going to be fixing our issue. No, I think there's nothing we can actually do about this. No, this is just as it is. Okay. Okay, so it says actually Paul over there. So let's go to the different region. See if something is switching out, or even if this is a region switch. No, this is no region switch. No, this is actually nothing going on. So no, this is just as it is. So this thing is automatically set to Paul. Okay, that's not a big deal, but no, one thing is a fact that this cartridge is not working as it's supposed to be. So let's plug in the Megadrive and let's see if we can actually use a flash card for once on these freaking devices. Okay, that seems to be working fine. I know there was one particular game load up into the chip, and I think it's Sonic 3 Knuckles, my favorite game. That's the reason why it automatically boots up, otherwise I need to load it in. Okay, let's get into Knuckles, otherwise I need to get that like freaking intro. Ho ho! You know what, we have here some really bad overall audio, but this is like the next level. And still, the D-pad is very comfortable, where this is like a way too much resistance. It's quite surprisingly fun to play. So when it comes to playing this game, this is a lot of fun. So let's get into the bonus mode. So the reason I always test is not only the graphical part, but it's also fun to see how the game actually plays, because you need to have like fast reaction on this. And most of the time we're going to be messing up with the emulation, but also input delay or having problems with the D-pad itself. But so far everything seems to be working just fine. So it's kind of cool to actually have this device that we have the option to play every drive, because this is one of those common problems we have seen before. Let's get into the speed. Okay, let's go. Wow. Let's see if we can finish up the level. Okay, so that seems to be working just fine. So when it comes to playing this game, this is a lot of fun. But let's switch to the Sonic 3 and Knuckles cartridge. Can we use the cartridge, or do we really need to have the flash card? That audio. Ooh, my ears are bleeding. Okay, let's turn it off and let's see. Okay, so removing these cartridges is absolutely a horrible situation. So let's see, let's plug in the cartridge over there. This is the Sonic and Knuckles. So we need to make sure that everything has been cleaned. I already checked that. So I need to make sure that everything has been connected. Wouldn't be the first time that it doesn't recognize the second cartridge. Let's boot it up. Let's see if this configuration even works. We can see it very quickly. No, so that's one of the parts that's always like a little bit of a problem with these, let's say fire core thingies, that we do have overall problems. So one other thing we just wanted to see is like this very nice Mortal Kombat game. Let's see, boot it up. Okay, so it seems to be working fine. Okay, let's move into the game itself, because sometimes when it comes to these fake devices, or at least these FireCore devices, will get stuck in this particular part. So there's a little bit of a downside if you have like an old device like this. Yes, unfortunate, that happens a lot. So we do have some limitations when it comes to this. So let's get into some Street of Rage. Let's see how this is actually booting up. Let's see if we can actually do anything. Okay, somehow. Okay, there we go. I was thinking I already broke it, but let's get into some old school game. No, it doesn't boot up. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Yeah, my LED is not doing anything. That's kind of weird. So where the audio is quite loud, it's absolutely sounding horrible. Okay, and also this is messed up. Okay. Maybe that's me doing something, that I'm accidentally like touching the cartridge. Let's give this thing another attempt. Attempt number 2. Okay, yeah, it was my mistake. Because this thing is really sensitive. I think it's one of the most funniest, like say, combination Street Fighter with Street of Rage 2. I love these wicked hack games or homebrew games, so funny. Let's see if there's anything going on over here. But if you're going to be playing some fighting games, or like a game like this, you need to have like multiple directions. I can tell you this is absolutely horrible. It's unplayable. Where you can notice that the D-pad form factor is nice, but the sturdiness of the D-pad is way too much when it comes to that. But where it's always so much fun to actually see what's going on with the TV out function, it's going to be hit or miss. Some devices will have TV out, but also when it comes to the HDMI out. But this thing doesn't do anything at all. What a waste. It's really fun to check out all of these older products here on the channel. However, if you're going to be looking into collectible value, I think some of these things, like this particular one, is just going to be something you should leave as it is. If you can pick it up for maybe like $3 or so, yeah, that would be like a fun novelty to just experience some old school games. But when you're looking at the quality, and if you look at the competition, this is something that is not really worth paying like 30, 40, 50 euros for. Because there are so many different options out there, they're actually better. Subscribe, hit a little bell, because we're going to be deep diving in more of these wicked devices, and it will be great to see you in the next video.